West Coast rapper LaRussell has been a controversial topic over the weekend. I don't know how much everybody is familiar with LaRussell. Unfortunately, as talented as LaRussell is, because he has been dropping some great music as of late, some great singles. He has been sort of building up to a breakout project. He's made connections with Jay-Z. He has been building a buzz around the LA area, which, you know, is really cool. It's awesome to see an independent artist of his type sort of making the waves that he is. You know, he's somebody that I think a lot of people have been encouraged to see be as successful as he is and building the buzz that he is. But over this past weekend, LaRussell, I don't know, I would say his reputation was sent into kind of a tailspin with a now infamous live video where he was performing a new unreleased song, and he kind of teases toward the performance of the song saying, "Hey, my engineer told me not to put this out." So this is the video that, honestly, there are a lot of indie rap fans and a lot of West Coast rap fans that I know personally who really fucked with LaRussell and were really excited to see him doing well and making waves. And you know, as far as like the current wave of new, younger West Coast artists who are in their teens and 20s, was really sort of viewing him as the guy who's like, you know, this dude could be like next up. This could be the next guy who's going to kind of like, you know, commercially anyway, like lead the West Coast for a minute as far as this new generation is concerned. But now a lot of people are starting to question the likelihood of that after he dropped this clip. So for everybody who is uninitiated, we are going to play this little song that, again, LaRussell was told not to put out. He decided to, and it's not out on streaming or anything like that, but he decided to perform it. So now it is essentially out there in the world. And this is what it sounds like.
He said, "Man, you probably shouldn't put this out." I said, "Why? What the hell happened?" He said, "You know, you talking about Epstein, it's a lot of shit going on." And I said, "Thank you for calling me. I'm finna drop this." That's exactly why we need it. Because everybody sit and be silent. And the goal of an artist is to express the times and discuss, say all the things that nobody else want to say or know how to say. I'm not perfect. And neither is the president. Was guiltier than a nigga hiding evidence. You can't be mad that they heated if you don't let them vent. Even the devil was heaven sent. Even Malcolm was heaven sent. Even Martin was heaven sent. Even Kanye was heaven sent. We all heaven sent. Donald too. We all heaven sent. Epstein too. We all heaven sent. Adolf too. We all heaven sent. Even you. We all heaven sent.
Why did he say this? Pol Pot is heaven sent. Jack the Ripper is heaven sent. So yes, even Mussolini was heaven sent. So that is what LaRussell decided he needed to say, because it's not just that he's saying, but as he said, you know, he teased this song with the idea that artists are supposed to speak to the times, and this is a message he felt the world needed to hear. Because there was some kind of revelation that LaRussell is apparently ahead on, that all of us are behind on, and he's telling us so that we realize it, that everyone, even Epstein, is heaven sent. Now, there has been a lot of heated discussion around this. I'm not even going to say heated discussion because, honestly, most people agree this fucking sucks. This sucks. Like, this is terrible. This is like not it. Even if LaRussell's message at the end of the day was that we're all humans, we're all people, this is the worst way to make that argument. This is the worst way to point that out. You don't liken the worst among us to MLK in order to make the point that we all come from the same God and we all come from the same biological process. Because honestly, if the quality of humanity ranges that greatly to where that process can result in everyone from MLK to Epstein, does that process really bind us together as a species in an emotionally meaningful way? I don't know. Not all of us, I will say. I see that as something that bonds most of us together, those of us who are not deeply evil and disturbed. Even Netanyahu, stop. I would say it bonds most of us together in a way that I would sort of, feel on an emotional level, in an emotional appeal sort of way. But I do not view that process, be it either, again, purely biological or spiritual. I don't view that as something that bonds me to Adolf, as LaRussell says here. So again, I don't want to use the phrase heated back and forth, because most people, even people who really have been rooting for LaRussell to succeed, think this sucks and think this was a terrible thing to say. Not only from the likening of MLK to these terrible figures and all of us and so on and so forth, but also just, the meaning of the phrase, the term heaven sent. Heaven sent, as a lot of you in chat I'm sure know, and it does not need to be explained, colloquially, it has a positive connotation to it. When you're saying someone is heaven sent, maybe there are some people in chat who come from other countries and this needs to be contextualized. When you're saying someone or something is heaven sent, you're saying it's a gift from God in a time when you needed it. It's a positive thing. It's not just something that you apply to everybody because, oh, God made you like he made me. That means we're all heaven sent. You're heaven sent just like me. Like, sure, you could technically make the argument that God is in heaven and God made all of us, so we all came from heaven through God's creation. Okay, you could say that, but like 99.9% of the time when people are saying the phrase heaven sent, this is heaven sent, you are heaven sent. Oh man, I can't believe that happened. Or this person who came in my life, they're heaven sent. It's a positive thing to say. It's not a term you use to say that, well, we've all come from God. LaRussell should have listened to his engineer. Now, there have been some back and forths between LaRussell and certain fans, other hip hop artists who have taken issue with his statement in this track. I know that sometimes getting dogpiled on can be very tough. What I have been seeing, a lot of it has been loving criticism. It's come from people who wanted LaRussell to win, wanted to see him do well, wanted to see him carry out a successful album run over the next year or so. A lot of the people I've seen commenting the most on this and who have been the most shocked have been people who knew about LaRussell before all of this. Now, I don't want this video to just be about this clip. I've already done a short about this clip. A lot of people know about this clip already. The point of this part of the stream is not this clip. The point of this part of the stream is LaRussell responding to this, at least on video, because again, there have been some tweets back and forth where he has acknowledged the controversy of this performance. So he has done this video here where he's responding to the controversy, and a lot of people are reacting negatively to this as well. And I haven't watched the whole thing. I've seen maybe just a little bit of it. I've gotten a sense that, he's feeling like he's being taken out of context or being purposefully misunderstood. We'll just see whether or not he makes the case for that effectively right here. I will pop in occasionally to probably say a thing or two as this rolls.
A few days I've been working, so I ain't got to really be on social media. I cut my shit, I schedule it, and I post, and I get into the world. The homies briefed me yesterday on all the outrage, and my first thought was, niggas ain't that slow. But I go and look, and niggas that slow. Just listen to the music. Like, there's no way niggas hear that clip and they like, you support Epstein.
I've not seen this personally. Was there at any point where I said, whoa, it sounds like from this clip, LaRussell supports Epstein and really loves Jeffrey Epstein? I don't think that's the point that people are taking away from the clip, LaRussell. I feel like he's trying to obfuscate a little bit. He's trying to avoid accountability a little bit by painting his detractors as being dumber than they actually are, rather than address the nuance of what people don't like about the process of likening someone like Epstein to these important historical figures, to everyone. He likens him to everyone. I feel like people take, rightly so, regardless of who you are, personal offense at that. I feel like most people, knowing what Epstein did, don't find a connection with him just by virtue of being human or being made by God, depending on your beliefs. I don't think people are coming away from this thinking, oh, LaRussell supports Epstein. I don't think that is the takeaway genuinely. And I think he's being a little disingenuous. Millions of people, from what I know, have seen the clip. I'm sure there's all sorts of terrible and dumb takes in reaction to it. There's terrible and dumb takes in reaction to everything. But a bulk of the criticism that I have seen, especially a lot of the criticism that he has been responding to in tweets and addressing or acknowledging the existence of, has not come from the place that, oh, LaRussell thinks Epstein is cool.
When the world be in despair, sometimes you need realization. And that realization for me through this song was like, damn, the same God who created Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, who did so many great things, is the same God that created Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, who did so many evil things. And it's crazy the range of what a human life is capable of. It's capable of changing the world and detrimenting the world. That's the purpose of the song. That's my realization of like, damn, this is all from the same place, and look which way it can go when somebody is misguided, when somebody doesn't have all the tools, when somebody just chooses to use their life in a negligent way.
Even if we all come from the same biological process or spiritual process, again, in regards to people who are as terrible as Epstein or as great as MLK, so what? If that is your point, if that is, and I think this is another major point of contention here that a lot of people are kind of disagreeing with, like, if that's what you ultimately wanted to say, and I think if you said that plainly in your song, it wouldn't be quite as controversial. I think it's the fact that you're saying heaven sent, again, that a lot of people are taking issue with, because again, that phrase has a positive connotation to it. I feel like part of what is kind of necessary if you are going to be a conscious artist, regardless of what your genre is, doesn't matter if you're a conscious rapper, conscious rock artist, whatever. Like, if you're going to be speaking to bigger issues or problems in a way that audiences read as like meaningful or profound, I think that necessitates not just making true observations. You can't just record a record and just be like, yeah, man, the sky is blue. We all know that, you know, that's not a profound statement that is going to leave us all sort of like with our jaws dropped, like, what? And neither is the observation that, wow, guys, did you know that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were born as human beings, just like you or I, or Martin Luther King? That's not a new or interesting observation. I feel like being a conscious artist means that you're on the cutting edge a little bit of where not all consciousness is, because obviously, you know, just because you're a conscious artist doesn't mean you're as smart as like the greatest philosophers of all time. But like, you're taking a bit of a temperature check on like where median understanding or awareness is across like, you know, audiences or people broadly, and just being like, what are some blind spots or things that I feel like people are kind of like unaware of or ignorant to or missing out on, or like need to be sort of like, you know, brought to in order to kind of like realize. A perfect example is Kendrick Lamar's Auntie Diaries. You know, that's a track where Kendrick obviously observed, looking at the discourse, looking at the zeitgeist, thinking, wow, there's like a lot of unfair bigotry and transphobia among this group of people, against this group of people, that is unfair and is unwarranted. And I have the potential to make a song on this topic that gives people some insight, because I have some personal experience, you know, knowing someone in my family who has gone through this. And, you know, that I feel like is a good example of a conscious artist doing conscious artist things. They're observing where people are sort of like maybe a little behind where they should be in terms of openness or acceptance or understanding, and pointing to aspirationally maybe where we should be. That's not the only way to do it, but like, I feel like making plain, obvious observations that don't have any sort of greater purpose to them. That's not conscious. That's not conscious art. Like, that's just saying 2 + 2 is 4 and expecting all of us to like clap.
You niggas is weird. Like, if you want to know where I stand, go look at my life. Go listen to my music. Go see what I do in my community. Go speak to somebody who actually know me. Be fucking for real. It's so crazy how fast it go from black boy fly to get back in line, nigga. Y'all want a nigga to be constricted and restricted so bad. And I'm never not gonna be free. I'm never not going to be free in my speech and free in my...
Okay, I'm pausing it there again because, again, I don't think, and this is just so disingenuous, I don't think anybody is seeing that clip. Nobody who actually cares about LaRussell and wants to see LaRussell succeed and has enjoyed LaRussell's music up until this point, nobody who saw that clip is coming away from it thinking, yeah, man, the problem here, this guy, he's just too free to express himself. I hate that this man freely expresses himself. That's not it. That's not it. It's the way the message is being crafted. That's important. Looking at LaRussell's commentary on Lil Wayne, I was somebody who sort of like took a back seat to having anything to say about that because I was like, it just kind of seems like, maybe a bit, of an ignorant comment. He's obviously a Lil Wayne fan. And maybe he was just kind of getting out in front of his skis in terms of talking about certain topics before enough people in music were taking him seriously enough for it to matter. But like when it comes to Lil Wayne's music, he's clearly somebody who's like, yeah, man, it really matters like what you say as an artist in your music and the way you word things, because that can have negative implications and influence people in a way that's like bad and, has outcomes we don't like. But then when it comes to his own statements, when he's not careful with his own words because he's saying Adolf and Epstein were heaven sent and acting like the concept that they were made in the same way that we were spiritually, biologically, pretending that that's like a really smart thought. And it's not. Like, nobody's upset that you expressed yourself, man. That's not why people are offended and unhappy.
I thought and free of my art. Artists and comedians is the niggas who's supposed to express the times and what's going on and communicate it in a way that's...
Okay, but how does that express the times? Especially given that it's not a new observation. This does not express the times. What about the times, especially the times vis-a-vis Trump, Epstein, fascism, so on and so forth? What does the observation that God made all of us bring to the table right now? Everything is still shit. The worst among us still runs society. Like, what are we supposed to do with this info? Like, where do we go from here?
This is what came to me. Y'all love to create enemies and try to bash anybody who has an opposing thought to how you feel. Nigga, I ain't got to show up how you want me to show up. This shit for me and my people and my base who resonate and connect. Everybody else could suck my dick. And there's niggas who don't do
Well, I mean, I feel like you've heard it right there. Unfortunately, you presented this song to the world for all of us, and personally, if you feel like your career is going to be one of obscurity because you're like, well, my fans are the ones who get it and fuck everybody else and anybody else who doesn't understand or doesn't appreciate it or doesn't just accept however I'm framing it because that's the way I just want to frame it because it's the way that's most flattering to me, they can just get the hell out of here. I mean, you're pretty much shooting your mainstream potential in the knee. You're just kneecapping it.
You niggas benefiting off shit I've done. What you do besides talk on the net? Even you haven't sent with your dumb ass. Shout out to my people who know, who been here since do that little dance.
Okay, so if you disagreed with the clip or thought it was a foolish way to phrase what he was saying, you're dumb. You're just a very stupid. Put that in your pocket, I guess, next time that you hear a LaRussell song coming across your feed.
Crackers who know what's up with me. And shout out to our new niggas who just been waiting for a reason to hate a nigga. That'll take the truth. Me saying Jeffrey...
And again, I hate this too, because the thing is like a majority of the people, a great deal of the people, and maybe this is just my feed. Maybe this is just my feed. A lot of the people who I saw critiquing him were people who were very supportive of him up until this point. and wanted to see him do some good stuff. And we're excited about the Jay-Z connections, and we're excited about the media tour and runs that he was on, and liked a lot of the singles and the energy and the buildup. And I don't think a lot of the people who I saw who are genuine music fans taking issue with this clip were just like, yeah, I can't wait for LaRussell to fuck up so I can hate him. Like, I really don't think that's the energy. I think he's severely misreading some of the energy here.
Austen is heavensent. It's the truth. God made him too. A lot of you niggas be so religious and so spiritual and so righteous, but this is what you do with your time and your effort. Hey, don't be free as no artist. Don't say whatever message is delivered to you. Don't write what comes.
This message was delivered to him now. He was given, God gave him this message. Yes, thank you, Uncle Bert, for the definition. Yes, it does have a positive connotation. You can't just merely say things are heaven sent with the implication that, like, oh yeah, God made that.
What you think about the world. You know how stupid that sound? Y'all insane. You niggas become masters so fast. Boy, you better watch your mouth.
Nobody's saying you shouldn't
Boy,
share your thoughts, man.
It's even all niggas in there like, man, you be at schools around kids.
Now we're R-wording people because we're just like really upset and defensive about being criticized. Okay, I think I'm done with this. When being backed into a corner, or a lot of people are disagreeing with me or hating a take that I have, I'm not above responding, for sure. I'm not like holding LaRussell to an expectation or a standard that I'm not, holding myself to. Responding isn't inherently a wrong thing. Here's the thing. If you're really a conscious artist, if you're the type of artist, and this will be the last thing that I say, and take this to heart. If you're the type of artist who cares about making conscious music in a way where, and this should be the goal of a conscious artist, it really matters to you. It matters to you deeply. It is a matter of deep import that the message you say in your music come across clearly, and it resonate with people, and it moves people, and it speaks to people in a way that is significant and meaningful and really reaches their heart. Then this would be a moment where you would pause and be like, well, why is what I'm saying not mattering to these people? Because what I want to do is for my music to have meaning and to touch people. And I tried and it didn't work here. What did I miss out on? And that didn't happen. And LaRussell has not showcased the capacity to sit and stop and hit the pause button and be like, man, why did this miss the target? He doesn't seem to be analyzing the misfire in any way whatsoever, and just thinks everybody who is disagreeing with him is stupid or is just trying to get his goat. And unfortunately, I think that's not going to spell out a very bright future for LaRussell's career if he continues on this path with this kind of energy.